Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary in Central Virginia to share another contemplation with you. The contemplation I'm going to share this Monday morning, just going to make an adjustment here, is unified consciousness, inclusion, exclusion, and relative reality. The pure impulse of dynamic creation is formless, and being formless, the creation it gives rise to can assume any and every form. So, what are we really talking about here? First and foremost, we're talking about, the experience that the human experience offers us by default versus the experience that is possible for the human experience to have with more balance. So by default, the negative polarity is the dominant polarity within the relative field of experience. And what we mean by that is, as a human being, when we're born into this world, we are in a form, right? And then there's a whole world external to the form that we are having our experience within. And so the illusion of separation dominates our experience. And yet it's possible to create an experience of the ground of being, the consciousness that is all and everything and is myself and you as well. So that is a possibility that is within the domain of the human experience if it is consciously approached and grown. So meditation, of course, is the primary means of building the balance necessary for us to open up to something more than the relative field, which is composed of a polarization, which we have up, down, good, bad, and so forth and so on, to a unified field, a unified consciousness experience where everything is the same one, simultaneously to the forms that it's taking. So while you're alive, while you're having your human experience as you, it's possible for you to also experience the unity that exists simultaneous to that experience of polarization. So you may see yourself as an individual, and yet at the same time that you're having an experience of individualized consciousness, there's also the unified consciousness that is the background and the creator of the individual experience. So, and the reason for this, of course, is always that when you experience yourself within the relative field of experience, and in that you feel separate from everything outside of yourself, there's always some other that can have a negative or positive effect on you. And in this realm of experience, it's basically fear-based, where simply managing to live in this environment and to continue to have a life without being killed or maimed or injured or whatever is a constant thing in your life. You have to survive. So survival is the key thing that's normal to human experience without having the balance necessary to realize that there is a unity within all of this play, and that it is a play indeed and not the ultimate experience that's possible for a human being. So meditation being the primary means of creating balance is what I am sharing these contemplations for. It's for those who are meditating, for those who have considered meditation, for those who think that there's something that they can get for themselves out of meditation, which is absolutely true. if you want to enhance your experience of life, if you want to experience what it means to be unified within yourself and the blissful experience that comes with that, since that is the actual nature of all existence, then meditation is what you need to do and what you need to pursue. Here at Synchronicity, at the Foundation and Sanctuary here in Central Virginia, we spend a lot of our time helping people with meditation, offering them our version of meditation, and also offering information about meditation, irregardless of what system you're using or how you meditate. Because what I have realized in my experience is that when I first began to meditate, there was a lot of challenges that I ran into in that experience, and I also had no understanding of what processes I was opening up within myself when I did start to meditate. I had some beautiful experiences. I had a lot of experiences where all of a sudden there was a unified experience, what we call synchronicity, and also experiences where I could see auras, I could see various forms and stuff around people, and I could also experience energy. I experienced myself as energy on more than one occasion where some happening in proximity to my individualized form that would normally be very intrusive or very bothersome to me, like a loud horn going off or something like that. And I experienced that energy passing through me, and as it did, it was actually a joyful experience rather than something that was annoying to me. And these experiences happened, and I was very impressed by those experiences and learned something from them, but I wasn't sure what that was. What did it really mean, and why did it come and then go? And now, after many, many years of meditating in an environment where I was educated about meditation and about these kind of experiences and the whys of why they come and go and don't remain with you, now this is what I can share with you. And that's simply meditate, meditate, meditate. Because the more you meditate, the more balance you create within yourself. And by balance, what I mean is that the dominant negative polarity, which is contractive, which is why we experience separation from all that is around us when we look outside of ourselves, that polarity dominates the positive polarity, which is its opposite, which is the unity that exists within us in relationship to everything outside of ourselves. So the title of this sharing, the unified consciousness, inclusion, exclusion, and relative reality, is pointing to actually the very simple dynamic and mechanic of creating unity within yourself and experiencing that unity with everyone and everything around you. So as you meditate, you begin to focus inward, which is the positive polarity to begin with, and that focus is a conscious one where you remain alert and focused, and you start to build your capacity to witness rather than identify with whatever thoughts come through your mind, whatever feelings come up for you, what your emotions, your mental processes, and your body. Everything gets more and more quiet as you continue your practice, and as you live a lifestyle that supports a quiet body, a body that is healthy, a body that is not being stimulated or overstimulated, but rather, evened out so that it can remain in a stasis when you're meditating and allow your experience to open up more and more to what is on the interior of your very being. And as you do, as you meditate and as you continue your practice, this just continues to grow and grow. And in that practice and in that effort on yourself to open up to something greater in your experience, all the data related to identifying with something that's more contracted and separate is cleared out because it's not commensurate with the experiences you're having in your meditation, which are very powerful. Uh, that data, those beliefs, whether they're conscious or unconscious, simply cannot remain within your experience because they don't match the experiences that meditation is giving you. And that's where people run into problems with the clearing process, where uh, certain beliefs that you hold, whether you're aware of it or not, simply have to go, and oftentimes this triggers an emotional catharsis or mental catharsis, whatever, but it's uncomfortable oftentimes is what I'm getting to here. And realizing that this is actually a positive experience. It's validating that your practice of meditation is working, because the positive experiences that arise during your meditative practice, during your sitting meditation, are beginning to replace the negative data that says you are separate. It says that you are not worthy. It says all kinds of negative things that keeps you in the limited experience of being a human being. So you go through this, as I have for many, many years, and eventually the positive polarity grows within you, and your database, as we call it, your beliefs and stuff, began to become more and more in alignment with a greater truth, the truth of who you really are, which is unified consciousness. And as that begins to grow in its power, then the experience of unification, the inclusion, where the people around you and the other animals, forms, flowers, nature, whatever it might be, that form is also the same consciousness that you are, and you begin to have that experience within yourself. And so you are entering into a life that is more love-based than fear-based. And as you do, the energy that you are begins to express itself in that way. And so you carry that expression, you carry that dynamic, and whether you realize it or not, the energy field that emanates out from you, your form as a human being, and we all have one, interacts as it always has been, but the interaction now is much more powerful and positive relative to the energy forms, human forms, that you're normally running into, like walking down a street or being in a store or whatever. And so you're having a positive impact on those people, even though you're not saying a word to them. Just being who you are in your truth, and which is a very blissful experience. That alone is giving everyone a message that there's a possibility. And in my experience, what I notice today is that whenever I'm in a social situation or in town doing errands, for example, for the foundation here, more and more I get into conversations spontaneously with people. They'll just come up and start asking me questions about where I'm from and what I do and so forth, and then I tell them, and instantly they're triggered. They want to know more, which is great, because that is the kind of stimulation that is very authentic, and it might carry them to start actually going into some form of meditation, some kind of a practice. And from there, they may have more awakening experiences, and from there, it just rolls out and may continue until they become more unified within themselves as well. And that is the whole purpose of the dynamic of meditation and the holistic lifestyle, is to, one, change your experience, to grow into a more unified experience within yourself, and to maintain and grow that experience. And as you do, you become a beacon for those around you. And then in that growth, we hope to help have some impact on this world, to create more balance within it, and therefore create a better life experience for everyone that's involved. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. The unified consciousness that you are is including everything around you, and your previous experience where you were excluding most of the things and people around you within the field of relative reality where we have experience as human beings shifts to a more truthful experience of inclusion. So that's what I wanted to share, and I'm encouraging anyone and everyone who comes across this and listens to it, if you're not meditating, do so. Which any system that resonates with you, give it a try and try it for yourself. If you are meditating, continue to meditate. And if you're not getting some positive experiences from your efforts, explore and try out different systems of meditation until you find something that works. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it continues to have a positive impact on you, then it's working. And that's not necessarily always going to be in terms of visions and things like that. That is a phenomenal aspect of meditative experience that most people have in the beginning of meditation, but eventually that will stop and you'll think, oh gee, there's nothing going on. But the truth is, that's another good sign, because then you're entering into a more subtle level of experience. You're becoming more subtle, and the manifestation of experiences on the level of manifestation, like visions and so forth, is no longer necessary. You're now moving into a more subtle realm of experience that at first you may not realize or be able to detect what that is, but just keep on going, because that will give rise to other experiences as you become more aware of them. So this is Jim Clark signing off. Until next Monday, we'll share another contemplation with you, and I look forward to having another session here and sharing what I can share with you that might help you improve your life in some way. So until next week, I bid you adieu. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again next Monday morning.